Listen to me quietly. Do not rush these words. Do not skim them. There is a reason you found this sentence when you did. There is a reason your chest feels tight even before you understand why. What you are carrying has grown heavier than it looks from the outside. You learned how to smile while holding it. You learned how to function while dragging it behind you. You learned how to call it a euro normal a euro because you had no choice. But heaven sees the weight clearly. And heaven is saying to you now, gently but firmly, this is too heavy for you. Give it to God. I did not come suddenly. I have been near you for a long time. I watched the moment you first felt the shift, when something inside you whispered, a euro icon euro t keep holding all of this. A euro you ignored that whisper because you had responsibilities, expectations, people depending on you, and a version of yourself you felt you had to protect. You told yourself to be stronger. You told yourself to push through. You told yourself that others have it worse, so you should be grateful and quiet. But strength was never meant to look like silent suffering. Endurance was never meant to cost you your breath. You have been carrying things you were never asked to carry. Not by God. Not by heaven. Not by love. You picked them up because you are compassionate. Because you care deeply. Because you feel things fully. Because you do not like to abandon anyone, even when abandoning yourself slowly seemed like the easier option. You told yourself, a euro just a little longer. A euro you told yourself, a euro I can manage. A euro you told yourself, a euro once this season passes, I will rest. A euro but the season kept stretching. And the weight kept growing. And rest never came. I want you to understand something very clearly. God never designed you to be a container for endless pain. You are not built to hold every €s emotions, every €s expectations, every €s disappointments, every €s demands, and your own grief all at once. Your heart is strong, yes but strength has limits. And those limits are not failures. They are mercy. You have been waking up tired even after sleeping. You have been feeling heavy without knowing exactly why. Your thoughts have been louder at night. Your body has been signaling you in quiet ways, tension, restlessness, sudden sadness, unexplained exhaustion. These are not random. They are not weakness. They are messages. They are your soul saying, I need help now. You tried to pray, but the words felt stuck. You tried to explain, but you didn't know where to start. So you stayed silent. You carried it alone. You thought God expected you to handle it because you always had before. But hear me now, God is not impressed by how much you can endure without asking for help. God is moved by your honesty. God is waiting for your release. This is too heavy for you. And that sentence is not a judgment. It is an invitation. You were never meant to solve everything. You were never meant to fix everyone. You were never meant to hold the future in your hands and figure it out perfectly. You were never meant to understand every loss, explain every delay, or make sense of every heartbreak. You were meant to trust. You were meant to lean. You were meant to place the weight back into the hands that shaped the universe. I know you are afraid of letting go. I know part of you believes that if you loosen your grip, everything will fall apart. You believe your holding is what keeps things from collapsing. You believe your worry is protection, your overthinking is preparation, your constant alertness is responsibility. But listen carefully, your anxiety has not been saving you. It has been exhausting you. God does not need you to be on guard every moment. God does not need you to stay tense so things don't break. God does not need your suffering as proof of loyalty. What God wants is your trust, not your burnout. You have been carrying guilt that is not yours. Regret that belongs to the past. Fear that belongs to the future. Pain that belongs to other people's choices. And you stacked all of it on top of your own wounds. No wonder you feel crushed. No wonder you feel overwhelmed. No wonder you sometimes feel like disappearing just to rest. This is where I ask you to pause. Not to fix anything. Not to decide anything. Just to pause. Breathe slowly. That breath is already an act of surrender. Giving it to God does not mean pretending it doesn't hurt. It does not mean forcing a smile or saying everything is fine. It does not mean shutting down your emotions. Giving it to God means saying, I can't do this alone anymore. It means opening your hands instead of clenching them. It means allowing yourself to be held instead of holding everything. You may ask, what if I let go and nothing changes? But I ask you gently, what if you keep holding and everything breaks? You are at a point where continuing the same way is no longer safe for your soul. Something must shift. And the shift begins with release. You do not have to give it all at once. You do not have to explain it perfectly. You do not have to find the right words. God understands sighs. God understands tears. God understands silence. Even now, your exhaustion is a prayer. Start with one thing. The heaviest thing. The one that keeps circling in your mind no matter how much you try to distract yourself. The thought that comes back when the world grows quiet, the one that makes your chest feel tight and your breath shallow. The thing that makes you stare into the distance, wondering why it still hurts, why it still lingers, why it still feels so big after all this time. You know the one. The thing that you avoid naming out loud because it feels too sacred, too complicated, too painful to expose. The thing that feels like it defines you, even though deep down, you don't want it to. The fear you tried to reason away. The memory you tried to bury. The person you can't stop worrying about. The situation you prayed over again and again, but still can't fix. Theta the weight I am asking you to look at now not with judgment, not with shame, but with honesty. Hold it in your awareness for just a moment. Feel the heaviness of it. Acknowledge how much space it takes up in your heart. You don't have to understand it, control it, or solve it. You just have to stop running from it for long enough to say the words that shift everything. This is too heavy for me. I give it to you. Say it softly, even if your voice shakes. You don't have to feel strong to surrender. You just have to be willing. That single act of release, whether through whisper or thought or terse, is not weakness. It is the deepest kind of faith. Because the moment you admit it is too heavy, you open the door for divine strength to step in. The moment you invite God into your burden, heaven moves quietly on your behalf. You might not feel lighter right away. Theta is okay. Some burdens fall away fast, like a weight dropping off the shoulders. Others unwind gently, like thread being loosened from a knot Theta has been tightening for years. Some releases happen so slowly that you only notice later that what once consumed you now feels distant. Trust that the moment you let go, something invisible began to change. God began to move. heaven began to arrange. The stillness you avoid because you're afraid of your thoughts. God is in the silence between heartbeats, whispering peace where fear once echoed. You do not have to climb your way to God. You do not have to prove your worthiness. You are already seen, already held, already loved. There are things being aligned that you cannot yet perceive. Conversations are being guided. Paths are being cleared. Timing is being arranged with precision that only heaven could orchestrate. You don't need to understand it for it to be real. You just need to stop gripping the things that keep your hands too full to receive what comes next. Let it go. Not because it does matter, but because it matters too much to be mishandled by human fear. Because it is too precious to stay in your trembling hands when it was meant to rest securely in God. You are not abandoning what you care about. You are entrusting it to the only one capable of carrying it fully. Heaven sees how long you stood strong when no one else noticed your strength. Heaven has heard the prayers you whispered when you felt forgotten. Heaven has watched every tear you wiped quietly away before anyone could see. You have been faithful in your pain, resilient in your silence, brave in your confusion. And now heaven is not asking for more effort from you. Heaven is asking for your surrender. Not more fighting. Less. Not more striving. Less. Not more proving. Just resting in what has already been promised. Give God your fear. The kind that grips your stomach and makes you wake up at night wondering how this will all unfold. Give him the confusion that twists inside you every time you try to make sense of what is happening. Give him the grief you learned to hide because people stopped asking how you doing. Give him the questions that circle with no answers, the timeline that feels delayed, the people whose choices break your heart to watch. Give him everything theta is too heavy to carry alone. Every what if every why me every how long every prayer you stopped praying because the silence grew too loud. This is not quitting. This is trusting. This is faith in its purest form the faith that says, even when I can't trace your hand, I will trust your heart. God never asked you to be perfect, only present. Never asked you to have answers, only trust. You can rest in that. And as you release, as you begin to loosen your grip on the outcome, something gentle will happen. You will start to breathe again, not the shallow, anxious kind of breathing that happens when you're afraid, but the deep, steady kind that reminds you that you are alive, that life continues, that grace meets you in every inhale. Your shoulders will drop. Your thoughts will untangle. The noise will fade just enough for peace to slip through the cracks. Maybe life doesn't change overnight. But you do. The weight shifts. The fear quiets. The space inside your chest feels just a little wider. You begin to remember what hope feels like. Not because everything is fixed, but because you're no longer carrying it alone. You are not failing because you are tired. That heaviness in your limbs, the way your thoughts drag like wet wool through your mind, the quiet longing just to lie down and not get up for a willy these are not evidence of defeat. They are simply the honest language of a human body and soul that have been carrying more than they were ever designed to carry alone. Tiredness is not moral failure. It is not a sign that you have disappointed God or fallen short of some invisible standard of perpetual strength. It is proof that you are alive, that you have loved, that you have tried, that you have stayed when everything in you wanted to run. Tiredness is one of the most sacred confessions a person can make. I have given what I had. And that giving matters, even when the results feel invisible. You are not faithless because you are overwhelmed. The waves of anxiety that crash over you, the way questions multiply faster than answers can arrive, the moments when doubt feels more familiar than certainty. These do not mean your faith has evaporated. They mean your heart is stretched across a wide and painful landscape. Faith is not the absence of fear or confusion, it is the stubborn decision to keep turning toward the light even when your eyes are stinging from tears you did not plan to shed. There have been saints who walked through deserts of the Spirit far darker than yours and still whispered, through cracked lips, I believe, help my unbelief. That cry was not weakness. It was the rawest, most authentic prayer they could offer. And it was heard. Your overwhelmed heart is not proof of abandonment. It is proof of your longing to trust even when trust feels impossible. That longing itself is holy ground. You are not weak because you cried. Those tears were not a betrayal of courage. They were courage wearing its most honest face. Every drop that fell carried something you had been holding too tightly for too long. Grief, fear, disappointment, the sheer weight of loving people who hurt, the ache of hopes deferred, the exhaustion of pretending everything was fine when it was not. Tears are language when words have failed. They are the body's way of saying what the mouth could not yet form. They are not evidence that you have broken. They are evidence that you have remained soft enough to feel, vulnerable enough to be moved, human enough to be affected by the beautiful and brutal reality of life on this earth. God does not turn away from wet cheeks. Scripture is full of people who wept loudly, bitterly, publicly. David in the cave, Hannah in the temple, Jesus at the tomb of Lazarus. And in every case, heaven bent low to listen. Your tears are not wasted. They are being gathered, every one, into the palm of a God who understands sorrow more intimately than we ever will. You are humana, and that is enough. This simple sentence can feel revolutionary in a world that constantly whispers the opposite: do more. Be more. Achieve more. Fix more. Endure more. Prove more. But the Creator who formed you from dust and breath did not mistake your limitations for flaws. He knit them into your very being on purpose. Your need for rest, your capacity for grief, your dependence on others, your inability to see the future, your proneness to doubt. These are not accidents of design. They are invitations. Invitations to remember that you are creature, not creator. Invitations to lean. Invitations to receive. Invitations to let yourself be loved not because of what you can produce, but because of who you are, a beloved child, finite and fragile and fearfully, wonderfully made. It is precisely in your humanness that divine strength is made perfect. The Apostle Paul once wrote those startling words after pleading for a thorn to be removed from his flesh: grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. Most of us hear that verse and think it means God will eventually turn our weakness into something impressive, some triumphant testimony we can package and present. But the mystery is quieter, more tender than that. God's power is not waiting for your weakness to disappear so it can show up. God's power shows up most clearly right in the middle of the weakness that refuses to leave. When you can no longer pretend you have it all together, when the mask slips and the scaffolding collapses, when all you can do is sit quietly with open hands. That is the moment heaven rushes in. Not with fireworks. Not with instant solutions. With presence. With strength that does not feel like strength at all because it is so gentle, so patient, so willing to meet you exactly where you stand, trembling. Think for a moment about the stories you love most in Scripture. They are rarely stories of people who had everything under control. They are stories of barren women who laughed at impossible promises, runaway prophets who sulked under withered plants, disciples who argued about greatness while missing the point entirely, women who arrived at a tomb expecting death and found life instead. These are not tales of flawless performance. They are tales of ordinary, stumbling, doubting, hoping, failing, trying again human beings who became conduits of something far greater than themselves precisely because they could not manufacture the outcome on their own. Your story belongs in that same tradition. Your exhaustion, your tears, your overwhelmed heart, they are not disqualifying factors. They are the very soil in which grace grows best. This weight you carry, it really is too heavy for you. And that is not a criticism. It is a mercy. You were never asked to bear the entire world in your hands. You were never expected to hold every loose thread of every life you love, to anticipate every storm, to repair every fracture, to guarantee every outcome. Those responsibilities were never yours to begin with. They belong to the one whose hands are large enough to hold galaxies, whose attention never wavers, whose love never fatigues. There is profound freedom in recognizing this truth. Freedom from the exhausting illusion that everything depends on you. Freedom from the tyranny of having to be the savior in every situation. Freedom to step back, to breathe, to say, ethos is beyond me, and I am allowed to admit it. Your only task, the only one that has ever truly belonged to you, is to trust. Not to trust perfectly. Not to trust without questions. Not to trust as though doubt never knocks. Simply to trust enough to open your hands again, to let go again, to whisper again, I cannot carry this. Will you? That small movement of relinquishment is the doorway through which heaven enters. And heaven is never in a hurry to leave once invited. Tonight, or whenever the quiet finally finds you, try this gentle practice. Sit somewhere soft if you can. Let your shoulders drop. Place one hand on your chest, the other on your stomach, and breathe. Really breathe. Not the shallow, automatic breaths you take when you are bracing yourself against the next wave. Slow, deliberate breaths. Let each exhale last longer than the one before it. With every breath out, imagine releasing one small piece of what you have been gripping, the worry about tomorrow, the regret about yesterday, the fear that you are failing the people you love most. You do not have to release everything at once. Just one thread. Just one stone. Then, on the inhale, draw in something simple and true. God is here. I am held. I do not have to fix this alone. Let those truths settle into your lungs like cool air after a long run. Speak to the silence if words will come. God, I give this to you. Say it once. Say it 20 times. Say it through clenched teeth if that is all you have. Say it until the sentence begins to feel less foreign, until your heart starts to believe, even a little, that it might be safe to let go. Each time you return that burden, something loosens. Not everything. Not all at once. But something. A knot in your stomach softens. A tightness in your throat eases. A corner of your mind grows quiet. Heaven listens. Not because you said the perfect words. Not because you finally got it right. Heaven listens because you are loved, and love always listens to the smallest, most trembling prayers. Tomorrow morning may greet you with the same circumstances. The same unanswered questions. The same difficult conversations waiting on the horizon. But you will not be the same person who went to bed. You will carry something different inside you, a small pocket of peace that was not there before, a steadiness that has nothing to do with circumstances and everything to do with remembering whose hands actually hold the world. You will begin to notice things you had forgotten how to see. The way light falls across the kitchen table. The sound of someone you love breathing beside you. A stranger's unexpected kindness. A song that arrives at exactly the right moment. These are not coincidences. They are whispers. They are love notes from a God who delights in reminding you that you are not walking alone, you are surrounded by unseen mercy, even on the days when you feel forgotten. Guided by invisible hands, even when you think you are walking alone. Upheld by an eternal love that knows your name, your story, the details you never speak out loud, the memories you try not to revisit, the fears you pretend no longer bother you. Nothing about you is hidden from that love. Not the strength you show the world, and not the weakness you hide in quiet moments. Even now, as your eyes move across these words, something gentle is happening around you and within you. You are being written into stories of redemption that have not yet reached their final page. You may not see the meaning yet. You may not understand why certain doors closed or why certain prayers seem to echo back unanswered. But meaning is forming, patiently and carefully, in places you cannot yet access. What feels like loss is not being dismissed or minimized. It is being held. It is being reshaped, slowly, with care, into something that will one day make sense in a way that does not erase the pain but redeems it. What feels like an ending often carries the quiet heartbeat of a beginning inside it. Not the loud, dramatic kind of beginning that announces itself with certainty, but the subtle kind that grows beneath the surface, unseen and uncelebrated, until one day you realize you are no longer standing where you once were. Trust that the author of your life is kind. Trust that the editor is gentle, never cruel, never careless. Trust that nothing is wasted. Not your mistakes. Not your pain. Not your confusion. Not even the seasons where you felt you were barely surviving. In the hands of a God who specializes in bringing beauty from ashes, even the fragments become material for something whole. So place it in those hands again. And again. This is not a one-time act. It is a daily, sometimes hourly practice. When the worry creeps in during the middle of the night and steals your sleep, hand it over. When the familiar chant of a euro what if a euro begins looping in your mind, hand it over. When you catch yourself trying to solve tomorrow before today has even fully arrived, hand it over. You are not failing because you have to do this repeatedly. You are learning. This is not weakness. This is worship. This sacred repetition of trust is the rhythm of a life that has learned, slowly and imperfectly, how to rest in the one who never sleeps, never looks away, never grows tired of carrying what exhausts you. You do not need to earn God's love. You never did. You do not need to prove your worth by enduring more than you can bear or by pretending that everything is fine when it is not. You never had to be heroic to be worthy. All that is required is to be still long enough, quiet long enough, honest enough to receive what has always been yours. Mercy without condition. Grace without limit. Restoration without a deadline. Rest without shame. Heaven has not forgotten you. Heaven sees you in the gray, in between spaces where no one else thinks to look. Heaven knows the grief you buried under responsibility, the exhaustion you masked with competence, the longing you learned to downplay so you would not seem needy. And even now, in this very moment, Heaven is whispering to you, gently and without pressure, you can rest. We got this. It is okay to stop being strong for a little while. It is okay to let the tears come without explaining them, without justifying them, without apologizing for them. It is okay to admit, to God, to yourself, and maybe to one safe person, that you need help. There is no holiness in pretending you are unbreakable. There is deep holiness in softness. There is breathtaking beauty in breaking open, because that is exactly where love pours in most freely. That is where God draws nearest, not to scold, not to lecture, not to demand answers, but to hold you. To steady your breathing. To wipe the tears you thought you should be past by now. To speak peace into the places that have been loud with fear. To remind you, again and again, that you are safe. You have carried so much for so long. You learned early how to manage, how to endure, how to keep going even when your heart felt heavy. You became good at surviving. But survival was never the final goal. You were meant for more than just making it through. You were meant for rest, for joy, for a peace that does not depend on everything being resolved. Letting go does not mean erasing the past or pretending it did not hurt. It does not mean giving up on the future or lowering your hopes. It means releasing the false belief that you were meant to carry all of this alone. It means remembering a truth that has always been quietly present beneath the noise: you were never meant to do this by yourself. Let your soul unclench. Notice how tightly you have been holding everything together. Let your shoulders drop. Let your jaw soften. Let your breath slow. You do not have to rush through this moment. Faith does not always arrive like a sudden revelation. Sometimes it rises slowly, like dawn after the longest night, almost unnoticed at first. Let peace settle in, layer by layer. Let it stay long enough that it begins to feel less like a visitor and more like home. You are human. You are allowed to feel tired. You are allowed to need reassurance. You are allowed to rest. You are loved beyond measure. Not because of what you have done, but because of who you are. You are held by hands that do not loosen their grip when you falter. You are held by a love that is not startled by your doubts or disappointed by your questions. You are safe, truly and deeply and eternally safe, even when circumstances feel uncertain. Safety does not always mean the absence of struggle. Sometimes it means the presence of a love that will not leave you in the struggle. You can give it to God now. You do not have to wait until you are calmer, stronger, or more certain. You can give it to Him exactly as you are. He has been waiting, patient and tender, not demanding a perfect surrender, but inviting an honest one. And you do not have to do this alone. I am here with you, breathing alongside you in this moment, reminding you to slow down, reminding you that you are not abandoned in your weariness. You are not alone. You never were. Rest now. Not because everything is finished, but because you are held. The one who holds the world is holding you too. Even here. Even now.